Welcome to the Mark Winsor Show with Tom DIller as my co-host and Tom Carreiro as
Tom Carreiro. I got a new name.
That's your stage name.
Can
That's
I
your
call you?
stage name.
What about Joe Diller?
I love that name.
Did I say Tom twice, really?
You did.
It's all right.
You did.
That's
Tom
what
and Tom.
happens when you spend too much time under the palm tree in Costa Rica.
That's what happened. Too much sun and too much water. That'll do it. I tell you what. What happened was getting back is too many emails and too much catch-up work. That's what happens whenever you go away for a week, you know.
This is true.
Especially with limited connectivity. You know, I had some connectivity. In fact, what I can tell you is Skype is a wonderful tool.
Well, tell everybody where you were. You were in the Costa Rican jungles.
I was in Costa Rica.
Hanging out with the local folks, spelunking or whatever. That's what we told people.
He was collecting bat guano
kidding
for
me?
some,
guano
for some
for
home gardening
fertilizer
projects.
I was
company.
actually on a
Yeah.
business trip trying to see how we could broadcast from Costa Rica.
Oh, that's right.
All right.
Just
But
in case the IRS is listening.
That's right. We texted him like 10 times. It didn't work. So apparently you can't broadcast from there because we never heard from him.
You know, I did find that where you have good internet, it's great, but there are places where it's just flat not what we're used to.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they say wireless available, and you go there, and yeah, it's wireless, but not enough to broadcast.
So dial-up is a pleasure over there, right? So
No,
dial-up
you know,
is-
I must say there were some places where they had some great wireless connections. There really were, and so there were some great things about Costa Rica, and then there's some things that were just scary and no fun, quite frankly.
Yeah.
You know, so the roads are really narrow and a lot of, especially San Jose, a lot of traffic, a lot of people, a lot of poverty. So you see the shacks. In fact, with the way they have their property laws, immigrants will just basically gather tin and wood and build these little 10 by 12 or 8 by 12 type shacks on the side of the freeways, even the side of the roads.
No zoning, no
no,
property
it's-
lines,
no,
tile and escrow.
Tom,
like we
it's
have
not
here.
Phoenix.
None of that
it's
kind of
Costa
stuff.
Rica.
Gotta have tile and
They
escrow.
just can't put A-frames up in front of the
You know, I got
shacks
some pictures
to
I'll show you.
advertise.
Or the address, so you can find it easily.
Right.
Oh, and addresses, you know, their addresses are like 400 meters southeast of the bank is how they do it. So finding places are just, and they don't label their streets on the ground. So it was San Diego or
Jose.
San Jose was not our favorite place to hang out. But once we got up to Lake Arenal by the volcanoes and the jungles and that area, it was just beautiful and gorgeous and green and wonderful.
Is
Envious.
it
Very
true you
cool.
could only wear open-toed shoes in Costa Rica?
And Bermuda shorts.
No, in fact, the danger is that the alligators will just snip you. No, okay, we didn't see any alligators.
No alligators at all?
What about monkeys? We mentioned that you were out there feeding the monkeys or something, and you probably got thrown in jail. That's why we didn't see you.
We heard the howler monkeys, and then we saw something that I thought was a monkey, or a bunch of monkeys. But as we got closer, they were a relative of the raccoon, but with a longer nose.
Quadamundis.
Those things. How do you know what those are called?
Really?
How could you possibly?
No.
Are
possible
you
way.
joking with me? I'm an animal expert. You know that. I mean, seriously.
Well, but that's not an animal you see all the time.
I've had
one.
quadamundis.
Really?
Yeah, I'm an animal person.
Well,
I collect exotics.
I got a picture of a bunch of them eating fruit on.
Quadamundis rock. They're great animals.
Yeah, they were fun to watch. Fun to watch.
I wish I would have bet you on that one that I knew what it was. You would have said no way.
You're not thinking ahead is the problem there if you're going to make some
Plus,
money.
you don't bet, so it wouldn't have worked.
Well, that's true, especially if I don't know I'm going to win. Now spell it. I'll give you extra points if you can spell it.
I can do that.
All right, we won't go there then.
Exactly.
Well, we're excited tonight. We've got a wonderful guest. I hope I pronounced your name right, CECE SanDiego?
That's correct.
All right. So, she is one of the leaders in Chicano por la Casa here in Arizona, which is an organization that helps many of the underprivileged and a lot of programs, a lot of private funding coming in, as well as some government funding to help with programs. I think we're going to focus some on some housing questions and some programs that people may not know are available to help them out.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for. And actually, Chicanos por la Causa is a community development corporation. So we not just help the underprivileged, but the communities as a whole. You know, we have different kinds of services that we provide, a variety in Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico.
And not just the underprivileged. Now, that's interesting because I didn't know that because when I mentioned a number of years ago, I received a phone call and was invited to come do some training when the economy was just starting to go
Kind of tank.
Yeah. And I was in there teaching them about forbearances and short sales and all that kind of
Correct.
stuff so they could properly advise people. And my impression was that it was mostly for the underprivileged, but I was mistaken then.
Right, and kind of some of the demyths that we'd like to get out there is that it's not just for Latinos either. It's actually CPLC, which is Chicanos por la Causa. It's a 42-year-old community development corporation. It is a nonprofit, but we actually have 35 pieces of businesses and trades that we have within our organization. So we operate on over $119 million budget a year. We have 900 employees across the state of Arizona, which includes mostly all of Maricopa County, Yuma, Tucson, Southern Arizona, Nogales, Rio Rico, and then we're also in Las Vegas, Nevada, and then we're soon coming to New Mexico. So, we found a niche in there with the community services. Like, for example, we have a temporary employment services shift. We actually provide, and actually your title company is working with us to be able to provide temporary employment for people out of work and possibly find them permanent employment services.
That is great. And then, Tom, we've got an event coming up, I believe.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about that. But that's coming up this Saturday, April 28th, downtown Phoenix Convention Center. They're going to be talking all about the NSP3 money, which CECE is going to be talking about in a minute, but amazing amount of grant money that a lot of people, even realtors, still don't know that's out there. I mean, up to $30,000 in a true silent second, meaning that you don't pay it back if you stay 5 or more years in the property.
Yeah, there's all of them. And we can kind of get into that here. I run a federally funded program that was awarded to CPLC on a national level. So back in 2008, under a bipartisan Congress, they actually approved under President Bush's administration, right before he left, the NSP1, Neighborhood Stabilization Program 1. And that was over $1 billion in federal funds to help what they knew was coming up, the foreclosure crisis. So they realized that they wanted to do something a little bit more than just give a handout. And what they did was they facilitated through mostly government agencies. So, for example, the state of California got some money because foreclosures were heavily placed in where? California, Nevada, Arizona, Florida. We all know that those top 4 states were heavily affected. Our program was awarded $137 million over 8 states, and we actually serviced in all of those states under the NSP2 program, which came in 2010. So we're in year 2 under this program, and what we do is facilitate the funds in each of the nonprofits that we work with. Chicanos por la Causa happens to be in Arizona, the awardee for Arizona, and I oversee a $34 million budget that is to purchase properties, rehab them, sell them only to owner-occupants, right?
No investors.
And no investors are allowed into this program, so sorry. And with that, we're able to provide them an opportunity with additional financing. For example, it is only we only purchase homes that are in allowable census tracts. Our census tracts are all over Maricopa County. Okay.
Now, here's going to be very interesting. So that our listeners know, Tom arranged tonight's guest, and I get to play a little bit of the devil's advocate because I've never been a fan of big government funding projects, and so I'm very interested to see how then are these monies put to good use, because one of the arguments I have is many times monies when they come from the federal level are just wasted, and so it's going to be very interesting to see what you do to make sure those monies are used to benefit and not just to be wasted. So I'm going to be very interested to ask some good questions on that area of how we move. But let's at least make sure everybody knows more about this event first, and then we'll get into some of those details, because this event interests me because it's open to everybody, right?
It is, and actually Guarantee Title Agency has a booth there, so we're a big proponent.
And more importantly,
champion.
There's going to be 2 high-profile radio personalities there.
Tom Diller and Mark
Who would those 2 people be?
Yes, so thank you for reminding me of that,
Starts
Mark.
with a T.
That's right. Big Tom Diller and Mark Winsor. So Guarantee Title Agency has a booth there, and the Mark Winsor Tom Diller show will be broadcasting throughout the entire day.
But not Tom.
Exciting.
Tom
Joe,
not Tom Carreiro.
a.k.a. Joe Carreiro.
I thought it was a Corona.
Corona. So it's 9 to 4 o'clock at the Phoenix Convention Center. Free parking, I heard. Or
Well,
maybe,
actually,
or no?
there is no charge for parking in on Saturdays downtown Phoenix.
Excellent.
So
Park works free.
Come early.
Parking's
early.
free. It's driving in that costs.
Yeah, it's
There
driving
you
in.
go.
It's going to cost you. It just depends on where you're driving in from. But yeah, it is. The event is free itself, and it is specifically only for purchasers, home buyers that are really confused out there. We put this together to offer some clarity to the general public, because all you hear about is this, REO and bank-owned properties and, They're out there, they're struggling, they're trying to submit contracts, they're qualified, they've got their down payment, and they just can't find a home. And these properties are available only to owner-occupants. So, if you're an investor or you're a fake buyer,
Stay away.
Stay away. Okay, we are going to sniff you out really fast.
What's the process? Do they have to go the entire time between 9 and 4, or drop in whenever they want to? Is it ongoing classes, events?
Yeah, we've got seminars going on all day. Actually, seminars will start at 10. And they're all based on, for example, Show Me the Money. They're going to be talking about vet loan programs for veterans, returning vets, and active vets and retired vets that haven't purchased a home. Going to be talking about all the assistance programs. And I say assistance because some of them are involving down payment, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Some of them are assistance to help reduce the amount of the principal loan. So they all have different types of criteria involved to be eligible for it, and also how long it exists. So we're going to explain that in seminars. We're going to talk about just basic home buying 101, pre-purchase counseling. If you've lost your home and want to be a homeowner again, we have a seminar that's called the Bounce Back program, which is talking about how to get back on the road to recovery and what it's going to take for you to achieve that goal. So we think we've hit a
I'm sorry,
good
Joe,
topic.
what's the phone number? Because I'm sure people may have questions they might want to call in.
480-745-1033 if you want to call in, or jump on the chat and ask us some questions. But I have a question. What about if you're trying to refi and there's just not a program out there for you? Is there free money out there waiting for people like us too?
Well, there isn't free
And my
money.
wife's Hispanic.
Well, hey,
You
welcome to the club as far as to asking
And her
questions.
middle name is SanDiego.
Is it really?
No, but it sounded good.
It's Joe.
I might be related to her. You might be my brother-in-law after all. No, as far as to refinancing, we actually will have the banks there. And what folks have to really pay attention to is that there is an answer to all your questions. But we're trying to put everyone in the right place together and move away from the focus of trying to rescue this foreclosure and to move forward on the positive side, because it is an incredible time to purchase a home. It is an opportunity like this that we see maybe once or twice in our careers, and I've been at this for 25 years. I've never seen anything like this where there's so much available down payment assistance money. And back to your question, we have our major banks that'll be there to be able to help answer that particular question, and they will be wired in into their computers, so they're able to talk to you and answer all of those questions that you've got.
Nice. What's the website so we can broadcast that out and show folks?
For information will be www.cplc.org. And that'll give you information about our program, the NSP2 program. There's a tab on the right-hand side. You click onto that, and then it'll talk about the Home Buyer Expo that we have this Saturday.
Don't be too impressed when I do this, Mark.
I'm
Well,
impressed.
I'm still
Oh,
waiting.
look at that.
Wow, look at that
All right, that's
technology.
See all the things that we're learning as my headphones drop to the ground.
So, CeCe, there's going to be banks going to be there. Are there going to be a lot of other vendors? So, kind of like a one-stop place for people to go to get their questions answered.
We tried to gather such an assortment. We have what we call NSP Boulevard, which will have the city of Phoenix, the city of Peoria, representatives from the city of Glendale, from Tempe, from Mesa, all over the valley as far as we could touch. And they'll be there to talk and explain about their programs. So pretty much you're going to look down this row of booths, and there'll be signs up there, and you can decide, you know what, I want to live in Phoenix. So then you're going to walk up to the Phoenix booth and see what they have to offer and have those discussions. We are giving away an iPad at 3 o'clock. So you definitely want to go if you don't have one, Joe. And
I need an iPad.
He does.
I thought that was a gift, actually, on the Pac-Man machine there.
Well, I was thinking of it when I bought it, but not to give it to you.
Thanks, Mark.
And then we're also going to have iPod. I have to think about that when I say that. iPod giveaways as well throughout the day. All we do is ask that you go ahead and check out the booths that we have marked on our expo map. We are having seminars throughout the day as well. We're actually offering a 8-hour home buyer education class. And we feel that sustainable home ownership has a lot to do with being able to get some pre-purchase counseling done, to be able to sit down and speak to a counselor at one of our nonprofit affiliates or ourselves to be able to determine, am I ready to buy a home? What's it going to take? And so they actually we have a class as part of a requirement of purchasing one of our homes, and it is an 8-hour home buyer education course. And during that course, they cover the A through Z's of purchasing a property all the way down to selecting the right mortgage company, selecting the right title company. What is title? What does that mean? What am I looking for in a realtor, in a property? What kind of property do I need to buy? What type of loan am I looking for? We cover that. So we're actually doing an 8-hour class on site at the Phoenix Convention Center, and our goal is to have as many of those individuals sign up, and they can, of course, go to our website and get information at cplc.org or call our counseling office as well for that.
All right. Now, again, it's a free event, so anybody that's looking to purchase a home, or maybe they just recently lost their home,
absolutely,
they can come in. So, again, interested in buying and interested in all the different programs that may be out there, please come on down.
Yeah, all shapes, sizes,
anytime
colors.
During the day.
Come on down, anytime from 9 to 4. And particularly you want to get there as early as you can, because there's a lot of seminars. We don't have the luxury of having to repeat them. So, there's some really good seminars with some seasoned folks that'll be talking about what's available out there for that particular home buyer. And again, we want to emphasize that don't believe that the market's going to bottom out some more. The actual, this first quarter, we're seeing an increase in percentages in home values go up. So if you could afford a home maybe in December that was $100,000, that home now is probably going to be worth $110,000, $115,000. So as you continue to inch up and we start seeing this inventory decrease, which it has in the market, these programs are so vital and important to our communities, because ultimately homeownership drives the economy. Okay? Housing drives the economy. It creates jobs through construction, through whether we're rehabbing a home, if you're going to use an attorney to take a look at your contracts, whatever it is that you're doing, homeownership creates that, and it also creates a sustainable neighborhood. We know that if there are homeowners in that neighborhood, they're going to care a little bit more, okay? And the National Association of Realtors say for every home that is purchased, okay, nearly $60,000 is pumped back into the economy. Lowe's years ago used to tell me that for every home that's purchased, they spend an average of $11,000 on remodeling them.
Really?
Yeah. Through our program, we spent an average of $24,000 to $32,000 per home to remodel it, to bring it up to standard, so the borrower could go in and purchase the home. So back to the expo, again, we have, Wells Fargo, U.S. Bank, Chase, just about all the major banks there. We have realtors there. We're having a construction company there for rehab. We have
Guaranteed Title Agency.
Guaranteed Title Agency.
Here, that's a great place.
Yeah, it is.
And by the way, if you are a active duty vet or a returning vet, or know of a family that has a loved one overseas, we would love to hear from you, because we are honoring our veterans on the First American Title Company stage, and we'll be honoring them all day with a nice gift basket as a way to say thank you. We're taking the positive side of this whole industry and trying to put a different spin on it, because you pick up the newspaper and it's, gloom and doom on the housing market. You talk to folks and it's always some sort of challenging issue going on in this market. So at CPLC, we believe that even in a challenging market, there's an opportunity.
Well, there is. And there are lots of challenges why we hear it so much. So what do we do with those? For example, I have some friends who were visiting with me just yesterday who look like they're losing their home.
Yeah.
And are there programs available, or do they need to wait the typical 2 years after all's said and done?
Well, it all depends. For example, I know of some folks that might have lost their home recently, or not lost their home, but they actually short-sold it. But they were current on all of their other payments. And they were able to, because for whatever reason, their situation was such that they couldn't continue to stay in that home. Maybe the other person lost the job. I don't, quite remember what the whole situation was. But in that case their credit score did take a hit. But what was amazing was that their credit score is inching its way back up. They went and actually sat down and talked to a financial fitness advisor, which is through the nonprofits. Doesn't cost to get information. And that's the one thing that I want to emphasize that we want to enforce here at this expo is that there's valuable information that a lot of nonprofits, not just us, but across the valley and the state and the country offer. So it doesn't necessarily cost to get that information. Of course, we always tell you to check with your legal advisor.
But it
on your
does amaze me
situation.
at times that people will pay, $1,500,
Oh, yeah.
$2,000, $2,500 to do something like a loan modification or something
Right.
like that. And there are a lot of
Right, exactly.
path.
Yeah.
In fact, if somebody then is interested in getting information, are you one of the first places they stop to see what's available, and then you refer them out, or how does that work?
Well, what happens is that I think with the challenging times that we had with this REO market, and where people kind of lost their faith on the information they were seeing and getting and reading about. So the community development corporations, the nonprofits, became the trusted advisors and have become the trusted advisors. They're the go-to source. And always have been, but even more so, it's elevated. So what will happen is they'll make an appointment at one of our offices for depending on what their needs are, whether they want to buy a home or talk about the fact that they're losing their home. We actually have the Freddie Mac Modification Center located at Chicanos por la Causa, CPLC, here in Phoenix, and they're able to go in and talk about what opportunities are there available for them to save their home.
Now, is it hard to get in? I know that for a while, when I was sending people to an office that was on about Thomas and 14th Street, somewhere around there, the challenge got to be that it was so busy.
The appointments,
that, they just couldn't get in.
And actually, there is still a huge demand. But here's something that I also want to emphasize. It's a 50-50 job to save your home. Okay? You're not going to take all your documents and hand it over to someone and say, do it for me. You have to be as proactive to make sure to follow up and to be able to get in there and get the information and be as educated as you possibly can. So, it's your situation and you need to own it and control it. And so by being able to get as many resources and education as you possibly can, whether it's consulting with an advisor as far as a counselor, whether it's going to an event to talk to folks, you're always going to have different kinds of answers. But the one thing that we know for sure that we do is that we have pretty much a menu of information to be able to guide them through the process. And it all depends on each individual situation. Every single one of them is different. So there is no one straight answer for it, but we will always guide them to what we know is the reliable source according to what information we've received.
So you have enough programs out there that I understand from visiting with you a little bit that you actually purchase homes that are dilapidated or that are
bank owned.
Mm-hmm. You purchase them as a organization, fix them up and put them on the market. Tell us more about how that works. How many you do? How do you select them?
Right.
How do you get the buyers in?
Right.
Walk us through that.
Okay. With the program, we actually we have actualized goals that we have to accomplish. And within our program, for every home that we purchase, it has to be in our eligible census tracts. And that's going to include just about all the way from Buckeye all the way over to as east as Tempe and Guadalupe. We're not in Chandler, but Chandler and everyone else out in the East Valley have their own NSP programs. So specific relative to my program at CPLC, the NSP 2 program, the second phase of funding, we will purchase the home and negotiate a contract, identify it in our census tracts, has to pass an environmental review, and we are purchasing it at 1% under the appraisal value, the fair market value. So what the banks are coordinating with us and cooperating with us is to be able to sell us a property because they know that we're going to take this with federal funds and we're going to rehab it and bring the home up to standard so that it can pass an appraisal and the borrower can come in and purchase it and buy it.
Right.
Now,
and here's where my skepticism comes if we're using federal funds. How do you ensure, or how does Chicanos por la Causa ensure that those funds are used correctly or used as economically as they can be used?
And that's a good question, yeah.
So address
Absolutely.
that.
Well, first of all the vendors that we use in our program have to be procured through the federal procurement process. So we just can't select a vendor and say, you get the job, okay, to rehab the home. So
But who watches over it? Because
HUD does.
because we joke about $500 toilet seats and things like that.
Yeah, that's not us.
But who watches to make sure that's not you?
Well, HUD does. We're actually we have internal audits and monitoring that's done through our program, through our national office. Then we also are audited by HUD. We probably go through close to over 40 HUD audits a year. That's company-wide.
Right.
So the myth that no one's watching the dollars, that's what you hear after someone's been through an audit. Okay? And I can tell you that the one thing that I know within our program, we're the number one producing program for the neighborhood stabilization program across the country. And the reason I believe that we are is because we are constantly evolving within the market. For example, when we first bought the properties or first received our award in 2010, and we were able to facilitate it through 2011, the way we bought properties changes tremendously from the way we buy them now. Back then, the properties that we bought were very reasonable, but we were fighting with cash investors. Close to 70% of your properties bought in Arizona are purchased by investors, cash investors. Okay? That's a reality. And that's reported what we know of, right? Okay. So that means that there's maybe 30 to 40% of those homes that are going to go to owner occupants. So with our program, we were able to, everything has to be vetted and every document has to be in place before we're allowed to pull down those federal funds to purchase the home. So it's not as easy to sit here and say, go buy the home, Tom. Oh,
Just
I
go
like
get
it.
one.
Yeah. And what we do is we mixed it up. For example, the city of Phoenix was program relative to improving specific neighborhoods. We actually met with them because we both have dollars in NSP2, and we said, okay, you concentrate here, then we will concentrate around there. So we weren't both fighting for the same properties.
When you rehab the home, at that point, are you making a profit on the house when you sell it, or do you sell it at what you paid for it originally minus the funds?
And see, with our program, there's no such thing as a profit because we're using federal funds. So the property is purchased, say, for $60,000, and then we put in maybe $25,000, $30,000. So we're into the home for $190,000, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when we sell it, we put on the market based on what the market is selling that home for. So say the home is on the market for $95,000, right? Well, we've already employed general contractors or trades to be able to do the work on the property. We actually maintain the property and manage the property by having landscapers and home cleaners and home inspectors go out and check on the home during the process, right? We actually secure the asset to make sure it's not vandalized, that it's not being ripped apart. And that does happen from time to time. We can't control that. And then what happens is that when we sell the property, if the appraisal on a $95,000 home comes in at 89, and we have put in a total of $88,000 into the home, we're selling that property at $88,000. Okay? So the reason being is that there is no such thing as a profit. Right. What we would like to do and what we do very well is manage those federal funds. So we make sure that we're putting in just enough in the home and not over rehabbing the home. So we're leaving what we call dollars on the table. So it's a really interesting formula and it's a very challenging program to manage. But I think that we've done a really excellent job of facilitating those funds, within our program.
Joe, it sounded like we had a call come in. Was that for
We
us?
did. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget.
All right, here we go.
Janet from Paradise Valley wanted to know what the cost is to get in, and when they go, what should she bring to be prepared to do the paperwork necessary to move forward?
Sure, absolutely. Well, actually, there is no cost. The expo is free. And again, that's this Saturday, April 28th.
Is that what she's asking about?
From 9 to 4.
Yes.
To get in the expo.
The expo,
Yeah, on the
yeah.
expo,
So
yeah.
no cost in the expo.
And as far as to being prepared, if she'd like to sit down and speak with the lender, the best thing she can do is maybe to bring some information on her tax returns, maybe some paycheck stubs, bank statements, what you would normally do if you would want to apply for a loan.
List of your debts.
List of your debts. Yeah.
Gotcha. And thank you, Janet, from Paradise Valley.
Yes, thank you so much for calling. Again, give everybody the number.
All right. It's 480-745-1033.
All right, this is it, turning into a very intriguing show, very interesting show. Let's take a break. Though we have sponsors who keep us on the air, and we do appreciate them, and so we encourage all of our listeners to support our sponsors who support us. We are visiting with CECE SanDiego of Chicanos por la Casa, and Tom, you're doing great. I appreciate always having you as a co-host. Let's listen to some of our sponsors. We'll be right back to the Mark Winsor Show right after these messages.
Are you having plumbing or septic problems? No worries. Call Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Been in the Valley since 1996. Family owned and operated. Proudly serving East Valley and surrounding areas. With a full range of services from drain cleaning, septic tank pumping, general maintenance and repairs, inspections for the sale of your home. They provide excellent and courteous service for all your plumbing and septic needs. We're not satisfied till you are satisfied. Licensed, bonded, and insured. Call today. Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Contact Denise at 480-987-8051. That's 480-987-8051. Are you ready to start taking control of your future and maximize your earning potential? Central Arizona College has smaller class sizes and personalized attention to help you compete in today's tough job market. CAC now serves Santan Valley and Queen Creek. The CAC Santan Center is located in the shops at Copper Basin on Hunt Highway, behind Barrow's Pizza. Stop in and see how taking classes at CAC costs a fraction of a state university, and your credits can transfer. So, if you want to earn real money, you need to learn real skills at Central Arizona College. Enroll in classes today by calling 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu or call 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu. Central Arizona College, your way. When you visit Hill Family Dentistry in Santan Valley, dentist Dr. Tim Hill provides each patient with personalized, gentle care that you deserve. Our entire team is dedicated to providing you and your family with services that will make you smile. With a full range of general, cosmetic, and specialty dentistry services that will keep you and your family smiling. Our commitment to our community is to provide outstanding oral health. Hill Family Dentistry is located on 36359 Gansell Road in Santan Valley, diagonally across from Banner Ironwood Hospital. Evening and weekend appointments available. We accept most insurances and have in-office policies available for non-insured. Contact us today at 480-588-8127. Hill Family Dentistry.
Welcome back to the Mark Winsor Show. This has been a very fascinating show with my co-host, Tom DIller, and our producer and owner of this station, Joe Carreiro. And I got your first name right this time.
Thank you.
God bless me. And as our special guest, we have CECE SanDiego, who is one of the leaders with Chicanos por la Casa here in the Valley in Arizona. And one of the questions then that has been on my mind is you're talking about the houses you're buying and you're getting them rehabilitated, people can buy them, but what's the benefit of the buyer who comes to you? Why would they come to you and not just go anywhere to buy a house?
Well, one, it's inventory. Okay.
What does that mean, inventory? You have better inventory?
Well, we actually do have really good inventory and prepared inventory for them. It's what we call market-ready properties, properties that will not need any work done to them in order for them to achieve and process their loan. And two, right now with the inventory, the low amount of inventory, I think we're down a huge double-digit percentage. I don't have the exact figures with me right now from last year. So, for example, if you're a home buyer and you've been out there, and I'm sure a lot of you out there are feeling this pain. You're making offer after offer after offer on properties that are owned by the banks, and you're just not getting an edgewise, or you're getting outbid. So you're qualified for a $100,000 home, and now all of a sudden you find out that the home actually went for $130,000 because there
Is
are
it really
still
that? Is it really
it's
going
that
like
tough.
that?
Oh,
That tough?
it's unbelievable. And more importantly, our properties are meant to stabilize and create value in the neighborhoods that they choose.
But won't they have the same challenge with your inventory? In other words, you certainly have more people calling you and wanting homes than you have in your inventory, don't
Oh,
you?
absolutely. Of course we do, because the demand is very, very high.
So do they just stay on a waiting list, or what do they do?
You know, what we do is we encourage them to continue to look at our inventory and to facilitate that, because there's a home, I believe that there's a home for every buyer. It doesn't matter how ugly it is or where it's at or where it's located. There is a home for every buyer. So with our properties, for example, the properties that we purchased last year, and by the time we sold them at the end of 2011, we saw last year an increase of 16% in value from the time that we bought the property to when we sold it. And we take full credit for that, because the reason why we did that is we wanted to see values stabilize in neighborhoods, so that the guy that bought his home and is still into it for $50,000 under has now seen some stabilization in the pricing. That's what the whole program was made for.
I've got tons of questions, but the phone keeps ringing off the hook here. So
yeah,
let's
we
get a couple of our
we got our first call from Guadalupe.
from Guadalupe.
Guadalupe.
Okay.
Yay.
We've never had a call from there before.
Right on. Welcome, Guadalupe.
Carlos from Guadalupe would like to know if there's any kind of extra points towards one of your programs for being a minority.
Well, actually, everyone is treated equally and fairly the same. Fair housing doesn't prohibits us from being able to favor one person over the other. So everyone comes into the program looking the same, talking the same, and feeling the same. So the program is actually based on the average median income. So there is
even though
qualification.
Chicanos por la casa, gringo por la casa could come in, right? and be treated
Looking
just
for
fine.
one, yes. Everyone's welcome. And that's something that we want to emphasize. And actually, if we were to do the demographics of our home buyer in our program, they look just like this table right here with all of us here. So if you can
That's
see us
scary.
all.
The rainbow.
Yeah, and actually,
Good-looking table.
Good-looking table, the best-looking table in the house. But we are limited to area median income. And for example, I will tell you, because you can't make a whole lot of money, okay? You can't be Donald Trump and using this program. That sincerely would not be fair, right? So for example, if there are 6 people in the household, and in Maricopa County, the most that household can earn is $91,200. Now, I want you to really think about that. You've got a family of 6, and the maximum salary for the household is $91,000. So, does that sound like something that fits the profile of a lot of folks that we know?
Yeah, that's probably. I mean, since it is median, it's probably many people.
It actually is. I don't think we've had too many folks that actually don't qualify in the program.
Well, Joe wouldn't qualify, and Tom wouldn't qualify.
If my 12-year-old, by pulling weeds and stuff, brings me over that 91, does that count, or can we?
Well, that 12-year-old wouldn't count,
We've
but it
talked
would
about
be
Joe
it would be
Perfect.
those individuals that actually do produce income, and it is per household. These are permanent members of your household.
I would
So-
definitely qualify at $320 a year. That I
no, they
make.
have minimums as well.
Oh,
Joe.
do they?
They've
I
got
thought you were
minimums.
missing some zeros there, but I'll take it.
They're missing.
Yeah.
So because they do have to qualify for the loans, right?
Of course.
Normal qualifying, right?
Right, absolutely. And that's another thing too, is that if they've already spoken to a loan officer and they've already pre-qualified, they can still come and investigate. They will have to go through a 2-hour certification meeting with our pre-purchase counselors. And that is that they would vet them and say, okay, let's see how much you make and how much you earn and how many are in the household and et cetera, et cetera. You know, do you qualify for the program? And again, once that's determined, then of course they're required before they purchase the home to take an 8-hour home buyer education course, which is what we call the sustainability piece of the program.
But then what do they get? So again, I'm still not clear in my mind
And what they get
as to what
over
benefit they get versus buying one somewhere else, because
Well-
you also have limited inventory, so they
Right.
still stand in line.
Right.
Your prices are right in about the ballpark of where they would get other properties, it sounds like, right?
Right. The benefit that they get is we have several programs that are eligible to them. For example, within our program, we have what is called a soft second. And the soft second could be eligible for up to $15,000 based on a complicated formula. And I'll be honest with you, okay? For example, their lender may allow them to use some of these funds to pay for their closing cost. In our program, we pay the closing cost for the buyer, 3% or up to $3,500.
All right, so there's
Is
one
this-
benefit
I'm
right
s-
there.
Yeah, let me jump in real quick. Is this just for your homes that you guys purchase? That's one thing that's kind of fuzzy still. So can they
Right.
find any house they want to buy and qualify for some of your programs?
They could, if they're in our census tracts and they're eligible for our program, we could actually qualify them for our assistance. Now, because we are not what they call an instrumentality of government, we can't contribute towards their down payment.
You are or are not?
We are not.
You're not
Even
good.
we are not, like, for example, the city of Phoenix is an instrumentality of government.
Yes, they are.
So the program, even though it's federally funded, we're not allowed to use the funds from the program to go towards their down payment. So if they're using an FHA loan, they have to come in with 3.5%. However, say for example their loan is $90,000, the purchase price on the home is $92,000, right? Take away the 3.5%, and let's just say it's $89,000. Our program, we will pay for their closing cost, 3% or up to $3,500, right? If the lender allows it, okay? And then if there's additional funding from our program that they're eligible for, that the lender will allow, say for example it's $5,000 or $10,000, we now can take that $10,000 and reduce the amount of the loan down to $80,000.
So it's not really the down payment, but it is a principal reduction of
It's
the
a
loan.
principal reduction of the loan, and it is
All right.
forgivable after 15 years. The minimum the buyer needs to use is $1,000. That note is zero interest, zero payments, forgivable after 5 years. Anything larger than that is forgivable after 15 years, and it's meant to assist the borrowers that need it.
All right.
So ours is different. For example, throughout the valley, there's different programs. They offer a flat 15 or a flat, add-on. Ours is designed this way because we feel very strongly that not everyone needs the whole thing. We're not just going to hand it over to everyone.
Yeah, and I know a call just came in, and I was going to take it, but Joe took another call. So I heard one come in from Yuma. But we'll let Joe take this call unless they'll come live. If they don't come live, we'll let him finish that call, and then we'll get two calls in a row, this one and the one from Yuma, and
Sure.
get that one answered. So now I can see why you'd be flooded with people who are really interested in that they're going to get a possible, if they stay in the house long enough,
Absolutely.
a reduction of the actual principal that they're doing.
Sure, absolutely.
Now, let's get back to this question that I had about the inventory. It seems to me like if your inventory is limited, that you'll have the same bidding up problems that
You
we
can't.
have.
It
So there's
doesn't.
not a
It
bid.
doesn't. It's not a bid. It's not
So
a
it's
bid
not like you
war.
have two or three guys saying, I want this
Nope.
particular house. So it's a first come, first serve on a house.
First come, first serve. The most eligible borrower.
Oh, what does that mean?
Okay, that means that someone who's already been through the process, has already obtained their approval for their loan. They've already seen a pre-purchase counselor.
Well, when you say most eligible,
That's the most eligible.
Are you ranked in order? Like if you go through counseling and you get a 3-star because you did well on the test, or 4-star because you did really good.
Well, it's not.
Is
It's not the test. It's a matter of the most prepared. In order to be fair and transparent with the program, for example, someone who doesn't even know if they're eligible for our program, compared to someone who's been out on the street for 6 months trying to purchase a home, has already done their home buyer education course, or say 5 months. They've already met with a counselor. They've already done their homework and have attended everything they needed to, and they identified a home. So it's the most qualified applicant, because the price really doesn't matter, because we can't sell it. We can't take
All right.
overbid on pricing.
That makes sense. Now, we've had a couple of calls. You had one from Yuma.
They're coming
right?
from all over the place.
Yeah.
We got Yuma and Sierra Vista. So let's take Beth from Yuma first.
All right.
She's working with an agent now, and she wants to know if she should come down anyway for the hope to get a better loan and
That's
not
a
have
good
to use
question.
that guy?
So, yeah. So that's a great 2-point question.
She made a
First-
point to say she didn't care for the guy, and she wants to know if she wants to come down so she can drop him and get a better loan.
But let's take it 2 steps. That one, and then also add on, what if they do want to keep their realtor and still use yours? So,
no,
so
absolutely.
one, they want to dump their realtor, which I love realtors, so I don't encourage people to do that all the time. So if Beth wanted to dump her realtor, she could do that, depending on what contract she has with the realtor, I must add, as an attorney.
Right.
Because there may be contractual, Beth. You may be contractually obligated to buy through that realtor. I don't know what you've signed. But they could keep their realtor as well. Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely. We always encourage our listeners and our borrowers, our buyers, to use the professional services that are available out there to them. Okay, they're the experts in the field. So we love and honor our realtors, our lenders, our escrow folks, our home inspectors. And the reason we do that is because they do that every day. 24/7, that's their livelihood, right?
By the way, you're lighting up the phones. I don't know if
Yeah,
you've
totally.
noticed
Okay,
that.
good. I'm glad. Keep calling. That means they like
all
me.
her cousins.
Okay? It's all my cousins from my husband's family in Hawaii. So, aloha.
Is that what it's coming?
Hi,
By the way,
honey.
we might have listeners in Hawaii. You never know. It's amazing where we get calls from.
And let me answer your question here real quick, and I'll talk to you about the national program. But yes, they can come and speak to, so long as, again, contractually they're not obligated. And, have that conversation, have that one-on-one, because a really good professional is going to be able to sit down with you and say, what is it that you need? How can I help you best? How can I better take care of you by being able to provide these services to you? Because I always say, not every buyer looks, walks, and talks the same. Not every seller looks, walks, and talks the same.
Kind of a realtor question now. You would pay a realtor their normal fees as if they would on a normal property?
As a matter of fact, we encourage that. We pay our realtors the full 3% commission. We don't believe in shortchanging them because we honor what they do in the community.
Good.
And by doing
Yeah,
that,
outstanding.
We're,
Yeah.
we're creating local stimulus in the economy. That realtor now has provided for their family, and they should. They should be able to, just like the lender, and again, that's something that we feel very strong about. So we wanted to make sure that money that was expended here in Arizona stayed in Arizona. So if you're calling from another area, you're welcome to come and visit with us, because our lenders are all across, and all of our professionals at the expo are from all over in Arizona. So if they can't help you right now, they will find you and assign you someone there.
I just want everybody to know that Joe can barely keep up with all the calls coming in. I think that's wonderful. Keep calling. Keep him busy. We'll do our best to reach as many
Well,
of these questions as possible.
let's we got 3 on deck here. Mary from Sierra Vista would like to know if she would like to buy either bare land and put a home on it, or would like to buy a mobile home with land. Is that something that she can find programs for at your?
Well, not in our program. Our program is single-family homes, and because of where we're at. For example, we have homes in southern Arizona in Rio Rico that, oh my gosh, those homes are so gorgeous down there, and it's so nice down there. So hello to all of our southern Arizona friends as well. But there may be, and I don't know, but some of the resources that they can go to is the HUD website, the www.hud.gov. And look for the program that is the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. And then you're going to click on the state, and it'll roll you up all the different programs that are available, and you'll have to click on each different entity. So if you're in southern Arizona, for example, that'll be, Santa Cruz County. Of course, we're there. Tucson is going to be Pima County. So you're really going to be looking at different types of programs as well. So whether or not, and that would be something that maybe she could find a realtor in her area. And also, too, if you have the housing counseling agencies in your area, you can look them up as well on the HUD website. Again, ours is www.cplc.org.
And one of the interesting things and benefits at KQCK is that we're actually reaching all the areas that she mentioned and more.
Absolutely.
And, these radio stations that are only on AM or FM, they just don't reach out like we do and hit all these areas. In fact, I was also listening today a little bit to talk radio, Joe, and it was interesting. You listen for a few minutes, and then you got a few minutes of commercials. You listen for a few minutes, you got a few minutes of commercials. And,
right.
I think one of the good things about our show isn't just that we reach everywhere, but we reach there with very few commercials.
Right,
And we
absolutely.
just sit and chat. Let's take another one of these questions. Joe.
Matt P. from Mesa, this should be a real easy one. He wants to know if he comes down and brings his family, do you have food?
Well, we're not allowed to serve food. And you know what? If you know me, and Tom does, anytime we do anything, there's always food involved.
Absolutely.
Okay, so no, but we are giving away T-shirts for the first 20 folks that sign up at a seminar at the event. And we have seminars going on every half hour throughout the day. And those are fun NSP T-shirts. And again, the drawing.
The iPad, the iPods.
iPad with your name on it.
Let's get back to this food. Are there not going to be booths and things like that to buy food?
No,
even?
they have the concession stands that are available. It's at the Phoenix Convention Center, and we tried to find a very well-known location. If I had known you were out here, Joe, we would have had it out here because
That
you do
would've been-
have
would've
the
been
land
wonderful.
and the space. I mean,
And we could have brought in an Indian fry bread vendor,
I
maybe a
think
barbecue
so.
guy, Blue
Yeah,
Bunny ice
some,
cream.
egg
all
rolls
set.
and cupcakes.
Now
I
we
think
do
would have
make
been
fun.
great.
We make fun of him out here, but tomorrow's show we're bringing in a helicopter, right?
Absolutely.
You got a
We got
helicopter.
the
What?
We've
Yeah.
got the CEO from the
do.
Gilbert
Yeah.
ER Hospital and the Florence Hospital Anthem flying in. He's a guest tomorrow on Doc Talk. He's flying into our helipad.
That's excellent.
You know, when people
Tomorrow at
hear of where
12:30.
we're located, they say, "How can you have a station out there?" And they drive, through the desert and out here by these ostriches, and they wonder what the heck. But look at this wall of the people he gets in here. It's incredible. And
Yeah, he
and,
does.
Yeah, it's quite the station, really.
All right, we're
let's
caught
throw
up
another-
after this one. Roger from Gilbert. Roger would like to know, is there a chance that he will find out if he qualifies for for
NSP
some of your
program.
programs tomorrow? Or
Saturday.
do you have to wait?
Yeah, Saturday.
Oh, we're-
no, absolutely.
okay, Saturday.
There'll be counselors on site as well to be able to speak to them. And here's the amazing thing is we every month within the real estate professionals, and Tom has been a great partner with us on that. We actually do what is called the NSP Roadshow. And we are out there in with the realtor community, the lender community, training them about our program. So what the listeners can find when they come to the expo are professionals who know about this. Okay? Because you might call or walk into a lending institution and they may not be aware of it. What are you talking about? And that's what I found amazing in our quest to put this together is that we wanted to get this out to the public. We wanted to shift the focus from this crazy challenging market to say, hey world, wake up. It is a great time to buy a home.
Well, and you made some points about the education. As I was looking through this brochure that you brought with you, education is actually quite a big part of what you do in a lot of the programs.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. We have early childhood education. We have a women's shelter at CPLC. We have workforce development where we actually train job skills as well as to be able to find placement. Within our program, we actually have 66 jobs that were created from folks that were unemployed.
Wow.
Our housekeepers, house cleaners, our landscape companies that we use, they were actually down and out, ready to toss a towel on, and we were able to help stimulate them back into the economy.
So again, we have CECE SanDiego with Chicanos por la Casa, and a lot more programs than I knew that you had. So that's very exciting. So we had another call come in, Joe.
That was a pretty cool call there.
We like cool calls.
Bob from Scottsdale, he just wanted to say, and I wish he would have come on the air and said, I didn't even ask him, I'm sorry. He has used Guaranteed Title before. He did not use Tom. He said he had a wonderful experience, and he highly recommends using Guaranteed Title.
That's good.
Well, thank you, Bob. That's awesome. Yeah.
And
great.
that,
Right on.
that, he
And
did
it's even
use-
more amazing that he didn't use Tom.
No, it's actually why he has such
Yeah,
a great
no.
experience, because Tom's the marketing guy.
Yeah, I run the whole marketing department.
Tom
so that's
can't
it,
even
you know.
spell some of the things they do
That's
over there.
right. They are experts at what they do. Most of our escrow officers have 20 to 30 years of experience. Our title officers are outstanding.
Let me say, I've
yeah.
been sending even more of our realtors who choose to do their own negotiations without using us
Right.
to you guys because of how well you guys do. In fact, Rima,
Right, and our short sale processing department. Right.
Rima is as good as they get.
She is one of the gems of our company.
She
is
really
outstanding.
is.
Yeah.
We had one that was going through with realtors used us for a long time. Chris Anderson, bless her heart, she's wonderful, and we had to jump onto Bank of America's. What's the stupid name of that computer system?
Equator.
Equator.
Yes,
oh,
yes.
And I remember that was one of the reasons I stopped doing short sales when that came out. You know, it's just
we are experts on Equator.
Yeah,
we
because
have
interestingly,
to be.
you know, we're looking around saying the paralegals we had that knew how to use Equator, they're long gone. So what are we going to do? We call up Rama, and no
Undo
problem.
that, and you know that's an important point. I think what everyone needs to understand is that there are those companies, individuals that do this for a living every day. This market has been so challenging for everyone, and the do-it-yourselfer is not going to go as far as being able to, talk to your office on how having to facilitate through a short sale or what's the right decision. Okay, and I always recommend that. And the same thing goes with the title companies that guarantee title. I can tell you one thing, as a realtor, in this crazy REO market, the choice wasn't always there for the buyer to choose which title company they used, right?
Bank owned, yeah.
And bank owned. So this is something that's real important. And GTA is locally owned and operated.
33 years in the business. All the money stays here in Arizona. All our management is Arizonans. Nothing leaves the state. So we're very proud of that. Extremely proud of that.
Yes.
And that was a call from Penny out of Coolidge, who said, great program. She's a regular listener to the CAC live show, and now she is going to be a regular listener to this show. Very excited to go to your event.
Oh, awesome.
Wonderful.
You know what, Penny, come by our booth. Guarantee Title is going to be there. Come by, say hi, introduce yourself to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tom will sign your forehead or your T-shirt.
Absolutely.
Or the T-shirt, they get the free T-shirt from the seminar, remember?
I will,
right.
and Mark will be there too, and we'll both sign it for you, Penny. So thank you. Come on by.
And if Penny wins the iPad, she's going to bring it back to Joe.
Thank you, Penny, for doing that. And when you go up to Tom, tell him he looks really good in the Sticks picture.
The last time I had somebody ask for my autograph,
Sticks rock.
the last time I had somebody ask for my autograph, they were
You're getting a speeding ticket?
Yeah, red, blue lights behind me.
Now, remind everyone that you're going to be doing the show from the event.
We are. We're going to have I don't know if it's going to be a live feed or what, because I'm not sure about the technical part of that, but
we will have it working.
We will be there the entire day doing the show
Yep.
and interviewing a lot of folks from CPLC
Off and on throughout
some
the
of the
day.
lenders and whatever interesting characters we can find. So Penny, come by.
And quite honestly, Saturday is not the ideal day. I would like to put this show in a primetime slot.
Right.
So, we'll be playing this pre-recorded too as well.
Joe, you rock.
So come by our booth.
No, you rock.
After they're done rocking each other, come by our booth, and you might be able to be on air during one of our primetime slots. That'd be very,
nice.
Very good. Hey, believe it or not, we are out of time.
Wow.
An hour flies by.
That is, yeah.
One of my jobs in this seat is to keep my eye on that clock over there while Joe runs the telephone booth, and Tom asks good questions. So again, listeners, thank you for joining us. We always have great shows. And tonight has been no exception. CeCe, you've been a wonderful guest. You answered even my hard questions. Thank you for letting me ask those harder ones. CECE SanDiego with Chicanos por la Casa. Some great programs available to you. A great event coming up on Saturday the 28th.
Absolutely.
And Tom DIller, my trusted co-host, who last week while I was in Costa Rica, you were the host.
I sat in the captain's chair. I felt just so much more powerful sitting in your chair.
He was amazing, other than he put his feet up on the desk once, and I said,
Not
Tom,
on my desk.
Not in that spot.
Not in that spot.
And he was like, what if I take my shoes off? We went through all that stuff.
How did he do it watching the clock? Did he do okay?
Nah, he wasn't sharp on that.
We went an hour and 4 minutes. I totally blew it.
He's been reprimanded.
Sounds like me.
Yeah.
All right.
It's over?
Hey, it's over in about 30 seconds. I need everybody to join us again in about 15 minutes for Money
and Motivation
with Nancy Fleming. And I'll bet they have a guest. And
Mike McCord, running for supervisor, District Number 2.
All right, and he walked in, so I know that we'll at least have a good guest because I can see a good guest over there.
And he is a very good guest.
How do you know that? He's been quiet.
Because I can tell by looking at that guy over there. He looks like a darn good guest to me.
I don't know about that. We'll have to see if he can.
When he walked in, I thought it was Tom Cruise. I was like, what?
What?
We'll see if he can answer my hard questions that now are going to even be better that I know he's related to Tom Cruise
right.
in Joe's mind anyway. Hey, thank you for joining me. This is Mark Winsor. Join me again next week, and God bless.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Wow. Edible arrangements. Beautiful, delicious, and delivered right to your door. You won't believe your eyes when you feast upon these beautiful edible gifts.
Located in Queen Creek on Combs and Ganzel in the Fry's Shopping Center, Edible Arrangements is the leading purveyor of delicious, high-quality, artistically designed fresh fruit arrangements that are a practical and healthy gift, perfect for every occasion. They feature a wide variety of delicious items to choose from, including mouth-watering chocolate-dipped strawberries, juicy pineapple, and melon arrangements, just to name a few. Contact Edible Arrangements at 480-655-6464. That's 480-655-6464.
Remember, perfect for any occasion.